The Fiscal Health Index is a landmark index which is been brought out by NITI. We are not into business of producing too many indices, but this is actually a very, very relevant one. An index has relevance if it is actionable. It should provide guidance to policymakers and others in terms of taking steps so that it can be improved in future. Fiscal health is extremely important. I mean, if you have to have a Vikasit Bharat, which is the Prime Minister's dream by 2047, you need to fund that growth, which needs to actually take us to that point. And that growth has to be funded by revenues. And unless you have a good fiscal position, how are we going to finance growth and finance it in a sustainable manner? And I think we're going to have a budget in a couple of days, and I think that's the primary concern, which is there in Delhi, and that's going to be the primary concern in states as well. A lot of work does happen on state finances. You've got RBI coming out with a report which tells you individually how states are doing on a large number of fronts. This data has been sourced from multiple sources, including RBI, from a lot of publicly available data, and has been analyzed and then compressed. In a way, it is not one index. There are actually 5 sub-indices. I see 5. What are you basically measuring? The Fiscal Health Index basically is measuring, how good are you in mobilizing revenue? How good are you in actually spending that money? Are you prudent in terms of what you're spending? Are you borrowing or? And the debt that you are accumulating, is it sustainable or not in the long run? I think these are the 4. Are you raising revenues? Are you spending it well? And what are you spending it on? Are you actually having imbalance? And is this debt sustainable in the long run? And I think that's one. And of course, then the whole thing has got compressed, and then you put states. More than the ranking of the states, what it tells you is a diagnostic on which state is going where. If you see, and the report will be released soon, it has actually 2 parts to it. The index is just one part of it. The other is you have state snapshots across for all the 18 major states. So you have actually a detailed diagnostic of every state. It tells you which state. You can pick up Orissa, which is the #1 state. You can pick up the last states, which are Andhra and West Bengal, and figure out where they are going wrong. In fact, it's a nice story. You actually get to know where we are doing well. So I think combining it in an index actually feeds into what the Prime Minister keeps saying, cooperative and competitive federalism. You actually, by ranking states, you can tell people, look, there are others who are doing better than you, you can improve yourself. And the index in a way gives you pointers. You will notice that no one state actually ranks at the top in the sub-indices uniformly. It keeps varying, and I think that's it. And I think the last 2 slides which Sahu showed, actually showed that the achievers have a different profile, very high non-tax revenue, and interest payments are around 7%, and the laggards or the aspirational states have a very different profile, and the ones in between. So if you actually go through the report, it actually gives you a very good planning tool for people in the finance departments of states to plan their state's future out. I think that is what it is. You can also see why different states are performing differently in other outcomes, because are they able to fund their expenditures or not? One is to have aspirations. The other is the ability to finance those aspirations. I want to go to the moon, but to go to the moon, to have the money to build a rocket and the technology to go there. I think in a way this is part of the problem, and I think that's very, very important. In today's context, in the kind of geopolitical world where we are living in, there's a lot of uncertainties. I think it's important that we pull up our socks and then do well. And I think this is a step in that direction. It's not going to be a one-off. It's going to be very periodic. I'd just like to mention, working with states is one of the major goals of NITI, and we're working on many fronts. This is one. I just want to give you a curtain raiser. About 15 days from now, NITI will be actually launching a joint portal, NITI and NCER, on actual state finances, where you will get actually a lot of real-time data on what state finances are doing. NCR has been supporting parts of the government in analyzing state finances. It was felt that there should be a repository for all this, and that is updated regularly. It's one-stop shop for all data on state finances, which will be going up and running in the first week of February. This is a part of that larger work towards pushing, state finances up to the forefront, and then maybe NITI stepping in, telling states or helping states how do you glide to a better fiscal position. I compliment the entire team that has worked on it. It's a completely in-house team. A lot of effort has gone into it, a lot of maths, calculation, and I'm sure all of you will enjoy reading the report. Thank you.